Star Fort tour, moving from a base of Texas out. We are at Fort St. Philip in Louisiana. This is south of Fort Pike and Macomb, and it's down here in this Boothville, Venice area. That is an interesting area to say the least. So let's check this pretty cool star fort out. It's got the shape of a five-pointed star. There's a whole lot to this fort because right across from there you have, let's see, where is it at? Fort St. Philip, which is reminiscent of the other addition to Fort Pickens in Pensacola. And you got this battery force. It gives us no pictures. Let's see if we can drop down close to any of these. Just to see what's going on. It doesn't look like they're going to let us. Anyways, we'll get back to the main star fort. Let's check out this monument real quick. This is Cavalier de la Salle Monument. And it just looks like it's a kind of a little obelisk shaped thing with a cross on the tip, and then it's got an old picture of this Frenchman. And I'm pretty sure he's got something to do with this star fort, so let's go check that out. Which is right over. Oh, I was past it. Okay, right here. So check out Fort Jackson. Let's see what they show us. Look at that. Red brick everywhere, like is per usual. As we know, red brick has the potential and capabilities of holding energy like a battery, storing it. It was built in 1822-32 to protect the lower river, named Fort Andrew Jackson. 1862, Fort withstood 10-day siege by Farragut and surrendered after city fell in 1898. In 1917 through 18, it was used as a training base, and in 61, Fort declared a national monument. Thank goodness that all of these places get declared national monuments, because that's what helps them get preserved for people like me who go out to view these things and document them in turn. Look at that entrance to that tunnel with the tree growing on top of it. That is awesome. That is truly cool. Yeah, man, look at that. Just look at the beauty and the architecture of it, man. I never get enough of these because it's much more advanced than we're giving it credit for, I feel. Now, these right here that are built necessarily out of concrete came at a way later date, and I believe whatever the mainstream narrative is for these, but for the star forts that are built with red brick, that's a different story. Fort Jackson is a historic masonry fort located 40 miles upriver from the mouth of the Mississippi River in the Plaquemines Parish, Louisiana. It was constructed as a coastal defense in New Orleans. Between 1822 and 1832, it was a battle site during the American Civil War, and it is a National Historic Landmark. Fort Jackson, yes, there it is. It opened in 1822. 63 acres it covers. Alright, man, this thing is awesome. It's truly awesome because there's so much to these star forts that we don't realize are there, because, like I keep saying, most of it's underground, and people don't realize that most of it's underground, you know. But let's see where they're gonna let us drop down and check this thing out at. All right, we got a whole bunch of options. Okay, so we're down in it. Like I said, this is just like, I've seen this on many star forts. They came in around the World War II time and built these as training spots for the military. and you can tell they don't match with the rest of the construction of the forts. But as you can see, most of the fort's buried. Look at the roots on that tree right there, man. That is beautiful. Yeah, I have to get over here and check this out soon. It's not far from me, that's for sure. So, you got many entrance points through tunnels. You got these beautiful trees. I think those are some kind of oak trees. And look at that. Just, from the view you get from Google Earth before you drop down, you don't realize how massive these walls are. Those things are easily 50 feet tall right here to that rail up there, or just to the top of the brick. I mean, look, that tunnel, that thing's at least 25 feet tall. And so we're being told, in 1800, somebody was just building all this brick. That there was a whole lot of land that had to be moved to do all that. But anyways, I digress. Let's keep checking this place out. It's like a layering of dark to light with the red brick here. As you see, a lot of swampy land. Yeah, man, it's vibrant colors in these pictures. I love it. Let's see, we're on a hill, and here's the other side. Just fortification everywhere, and it's much more. It's a lot more vast than I think most would give it credit for, but by just looking at the overhead view on Google Earth, like I said, and there's always these water systems within them, and most of them have the cistern abilities, water cisterns, and the desalinization properties of a lot of these star forts. They're capable of turning salt water into fresh water. A lot of this stuff got tore up at some point, as you can clearly see. There's no telling. It looked like a whole wall fell back there. That's a pity. Let's see. Let's drop that right here. So there was a lot more that Google gives us access to than I formerly realized. This is awesome. This video might go a little longer than I had planned, just because I want to check all of it out. I want to check all of what they're letting us have access to out. I love it when they do that. They have the entrance ways in, and there's a little drawbridge, and then the tunnel goes under the top layer of the fort as an entryway, and it's beautiful. Alright. The battery mylar. There's always these supporting features that came way later than the original star forts. Let's see what it tells us. National Historic Civil Engineering Landmark. Yeah, so that's way later than the original star fort architecture was put up. Still interesting in itself. You see the pipe for some exhaust to come up from underground, and a big flagpole, which is always nice. And as we know, these things are always going to be constructed by some water. Well, I say always, but it's really not always. There's a few that are a pretty good distance away from some water, but there's not many. There's not many for sure. Most of them are right on the water, just like this one. Alright, let's drop down over here. Let's see what it's got going on for us. Wall's been broken off. I think this came a lot later. It was for a cannon setup, some kind of gun setup. But yeah, you can tell it's a lot later than the original foundation and fortress build of this place. And as you can see, it's just giant. A 63-acre area. I mean, that's a lot of just architecture that's underground, above ground, hidden. There's probably a lot of this place that's hidden from even people that work for the government that they just can't get to because it's so old. Like that right there. It's, they got it blocked off right here. Artifacts. They got Civil War cannon fragments right here, but that's probably they're protecting something under there. that they don't want touched or viewed, if that makes sense to you. That could be just, I mean, that's just a guess on my part, but it's an educated guess because they do this, with the golf courses. They'll put a golf course somewhere where they don't want, people to start digging and bringing up giant bones. I mean, you could look this up. This is all documented. It's no secret. Tennis courts, shooting ranges, all kinds of places like that. Just to keep people out of the area. Look at that, a chimney coming out from underground. It's just crazy how all these trees built right on top of this fort, grew right on top of the fort. I wonder if that was done intentionally or if Mother Nature just, this happened. Oh yeah, that is beautiful. The way that chimney just stands proudly from underground to still be there. And then here you see more infrastructure still here. Nature taking its time to come reclaim the land. Start moving through here a little quicker because I'll be here all day if I don't. But yeah, that's what this is. This is an exhaust system, some kind of chimney, as you can see, that goes underground to the Star Fort. I'm sure there's a couple more that are built up just like that one that, for the same function elsewhere on the site. Where are we? There's one on the outskirts. So we're way over here. See how vast these things are? We can't even comprehend how big these star forts are. I mean, they all go underground. I'm getting the feeling I already did this fort, and I'm okay with that because I feel like I'm rediscovering the whole thing from a new perspective for some reason. And look at the beautiful walls, drawbridge. Yeah, man, they're breathtaking for me. These old star forts in the red brick. Look at the windows. Jump. I want to jump to the other side of this place. Jump to each corner and see what we can find. So this is where the moats were. And drainage systems for it's a domed part over there. And then this outer wall right here. I think we've already seen this spot. Let's jump up onto the point. Okay, there's another chimney system earlier, right here. Earlier chimney system. And they came and put a later one when they started using it for training during World War II. This proud entrance to a tunnel right here. Very reminiscent of Fort Pickens in Pensacola. But this one's got these beautiful shade trees all around. And then you turn around, there's more chimneys. Oops. Yes, and then we have a good view of this outer wall. Very solidly built. Some of them standing 20 feet thick in parts. Let's drop down in these trees right here and see what's going on. Yeah, just beautiful, man. I just stand in awe every time I check these things out. They're just so simply passed over and simply spoken for, and I feel like we're just given a simple narrative, and somebody's just, people that may not have ever lived are given the credibility for building this thing. And it's just like, oh, they wanted a fort right here, so a couple troops could lay down and have protection just in case, when the war broke out. But there's much more going on that's not answered for, like all of these tunnels, all of the just the vast amount of work that was put into all this. How many horses did it take to carry all these bricks out here in the early 1800s? I mean, there's questions like that we'll never get answers to, that we should be asking, because it will break the narrative that they're giving us. There's so many questions they can't give us answers to, because they don't have the answers because they're making them as they go. And yeah, look at, they just let it grow over because there's so much going on here. It's so beautiful. Let me get in the middle of this place, get a good view all around. Wow. Yeah, this is a really big structure that has been here for a lot longer than it's given credit for, in my opinion. I have a feeling this thing's been here for a much longer time than they're telling us. And when you go to these star forts, you can feel that when you walk down in tunnels like that and you go underground. You can feel the energy of ancientness. And I know that a lot of that comes from the earth itself, but a lot of it comes from this architecture sharing that space with the earth. You know, it's beautiful. Let's check this little cemetery out. What's going on here? I have not checked any of this out yet. Let's see, Fort Jackson Cemetery. Okay. Nothing new. I don't know. They're calling it a cemetery. I'm not sure why. But okay. I'll try to drop down by it so I can see if there's a tombstone or anything close by. Is that what I'm... No, that's a cannon. This is all for, you know, artilleries to stand and be dealt from. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, yeah, about 6, 7 tunnels right there. What's that? Electrical box. I don't see anything that would say it's a cemetery, so I'm not sure why they have it labeled like that. Maybe there's just some plaques from people who died there during the Civil War battle they spoke of. I'm not too sure. Yeah, it could be anything. It could be anything. But man, I'm loving these views they're giving us. Loving these views they're giving us. There's just a lot to take in here. And of course, Google Earth can never keep up with the movements and pace I run it. My eyes and my fingers are just moving a lot quicker than this platform can keep up with. And I really don't care because I can't. I'm just in love with this place. I have to get there as soon as possible to go check this place out in person. I can almost guarantee that there's a ancient vibe and energy to this place. What with the trees and all, I just, the trees give it a very unique energy. But I think I'm gonna call that about it for this one. What am I? How long have I been going? So I'm not gonna stop. I'm gonna go ahead and finish this out the way I feel like doing it. But I'm just curious to see really how far this thing. So they have it all the way to there, but I feel like there was a lot more to this that they're not telling us. But there's no way for me to prove any of that. So let's check out this battery force with nothing much to show. And Fort St. Philip, which, like I said, came later when they built their infrastructure, you know, as training for World War II. And this one was built across the little channel right there. And they've let it, you know, go back to nature slowly but surely. But yeah, this guy got in there and took some pretty dang good pictures for us. Look at that. Pretty creepy looking, huh? Yeah. Lots of good history that is saved for us. And I'm grateful because there's so much interesting. There's so many interesting. That's very reminiscent of what's that movie? And it's a World War II movie where they're overseas, and it looks just like that. Yeah, that's World War II architecture right there. Fort St. Philip is a historic masonry fort located on the eastern bank of the Mississippi River, about 40 miles upriver from its mouth. Plaquemines Parish, Louisiana, just opposite Fort Jackson on the other side of the river. Well, they're telling us it was opened in 1746, but that would make this earlier than the Fort Jackson, the Star Fort built with red brick, and I have issue with that because that just doesn't make sense. If this thing was, look, you can tell it was used. Concrete was used in this fort. Concrete came after the red, using red brick to build things. It's obvious World War II architecture. I don't know where they're finding that it was built before the other Star Fort across the way, and that's just crazy to me. But okay, we just have to take their word for it, huh? And I think that's gonna do it for this one. I just wanted to give you all this view of Louisiana right here. There's New Orleans, and then here's this, Mississippi River with this, just the way they have got this cut running through here is just crazy to me. These channels, man, there's a lot of evidence going to show that these channels were dug and with perfection by someone very early on in our history, and we have no answer for how they did these. Look at these straight. You don't find straight lines in nature, but you do right here. Look at that. That's like computer diagrams. I like to get in here and start messing with the history filter they have given us to look at this thing from different year viewpoints. And I've got a video I'm working on now that's got tons of crazy, just somebody has taken a pencil and went through and was X marking spots, circling weird structures that I can't really tell what they are, but just large pencil markings all over Google Earth, from the 40s, and it's wild. I could sit out here all day looking through these, and look at that right there. That's proof. That's proof of an advanced civilization here, far in the past. Do you see what I'm speaking of right there? The layering, the geometry that's right there. That's not natural. There's nothing natural about that. There's an ancient civilization was in this area, and they were terraforming the land at some point. And yeah, they were doing things that we are baffled by today. Nobody can give us a clear answer of how they did that. And then these straight canal lines right here. Look at these. There's no way that's natural. This is just earth building by a very advanced, very ancient civilization that inhabited this place long ago. Their handiwork still remains here for us to bear witness to, and it's a blessing. And I, for one, am very grateful to be able to witness the amazingness of all of it. It's just a lot. There's a lot to take in, and a lot that cannot be answered for. What is this? US 6. Huh. I'm not too sure what US 6 is, but I mean, just look how vast all of this swampland here in Louisiana is. There's just so much to it. And when you get on this platform and you start looking through it all, you find some very weird evidence. Like, look at the straight lines here. Look at this. So you got an island here that nothing's happening with it today, but it was part of something very big in the past that, I mean, what? Who does that? Nature doesn't do this. Just perfectly straight across on both sides. Very symmetrical all the way down. I bet you. Look at that. So, I bet they're going to tell us this is a natural formation right here, which is preposterous as you can imagine. And when I get on my laptop and I start messing with the filters right here, like I was doing in Galveston last night, I'm going to find some crazy evidence that someone back in the day knew a lot more than they're telling us about these kind of lands right here that turned into swamplands. Because there's not near as many as Louisiana, but there's a lot in Galveston. Galveston has a lot of these, and there's very hard to view structures, and they have been circled in pencil by somebody. I guess they took the satellite view and then started X marking spots, and it's like it's like they followed some kind of ley line all the way down, and you can find these weird structures and big X's and circles. I'm talking for miles and miles and miles and miles and miles. It blew my mind, and I got like look at that island right here that they're keeping hidden. But they give us a name for it. Let's click on it. What is it going to tell it? Brenton Islands. It's not going to let me click it. Well, I'm going to Google that real quick because that's interesting. If anybody's still hanging with me watching through all this, man, thank you. I doubt anybody will ever see this part of the video, but if they do not get that COVID vaccine, whatever you do in your life. Maybe that'll give the algorithm a reason to take this down. I really don't give a damn no more. Since they took my last channel down, I just gotten to the point where I could start, having a big audience. I had over 100 subscribers, and they just took it all away from me with nothing else. I mean, they said I was doing spam and scams. That's such bullshit. They're so full of shit. This one is in England. I'm not looking for England. I'm looking for Louisiana. Brenton Island is an island or group of islands in the Gulf of Mexico near the mouth of the Mississippi. That's all it's going to tell us. So there's, in the early 19th century, Brenton Island comprised two islands. Prior Hurricane Opal in 95, it was a single island, and now it's divided into by that storm. Really? And after Hurricane Georges in 98, it was divided into 3 islands. Another hurricane caused additional damage. Okay then. So these hurricanes are now splitting islands. That is new for me. I didn't know that it was really a thing. But I mean, it makes sense in my mind, I guess, but the way they said that was just kind of like, wow. Okay then. Yeah. Just very interesting. A lot of really wild stuff that you can see but don't have answers for out in these swamplands. Yeah, I love hanging out in them and looking around on this platform because you can find some very, very amazing things that blow my mind, and I'm going to share all that with you real soon. Look at this, just wow. It's awesome. The shadows. Look at this. That's a huge cargo ship, and look how dwarfed it is compared to this swampland right here. I mean, whatever this cloud of mud is right there is almost as big as that huge cargo ship. And then look at all of these straight lines that, and 90-degree angles that, nature doesn't work in that capacity. Look at that. What is that? I mean, that's amazing to me that you can just come out here and look at that and nobody has any clue how that got there, why it's there. And I'm sure some whack job's gonna say, "Oh, that's a natural formation." Oh yeah, that, because we see natural formations like that everywhere. That is just the way this place is. You get tic-tac-toe patterns in the swamps. That's just wild. And what is this? I'm digging for oil. Of course they are. Because why waste the good space? What is that made of? This is like island grown. They like grew islands out here in a weird pattern like that. That is amazing. And I get my breath get I just a loss for words with the things I see sometimes. I mean, like this. What the heck? It's just a perfect circle patch of a different colored whatever that is. It's just in the middle of nowhere. It is wild. Let's see. Octave Pass North. It's not going to let me get a click on that unclickable link. I guess I need to get off here. I'm kind of obsessing, but I could get lost in this place, as you can tell. There's just so much randomness, I guess, and it's like a what is it? Not hide and seek, but a treasure hunt. There we go. It's like a treasure hunt because you just be scrolling along and then you see just something that doesn't belong. Of course, this all belongs because we did that, but we're just utilizing the previous civilization's very advanced engineering skills, and because we couldn't do this, we couldn't cut our way through. We might can, and that's why it's so sloppy. But you come over here and look at the straight lines that these advanced civilizations of the past used. Look at that. We're not able to do this in 90-degree angles, and just terraform what they did, and we just come and try to utilize it the best we can later. I mean, just explain something like this to me. How? Because that's above water. It's land. This is land of some type right there. And I mean, so the measurements between each of these is the same, going that way, and that's wild to me. I gotta lay a place mark here because I gotta figure out something up with this. I need answers to why that's there. Much love.